So here is a replica and a retail pair side by side. Can you see any differences between them? Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are comparing two pairs of sneakers that they are the exact same. One is a retail pair and one is a replica pair. I have done a comparison of these two before, but this is just an updated version, and both pairs are the exact same size, exact same colorway. So I just thought I'd give a more detailed breakdown of some of the differences between a replica pair and an authentic pair. So as you can tell by the thumbnail and the title, it is a pair of Balenciaga Speed socks, and it's a retail pair and a replica pair. Which box do you think is retail and which box do you think is replica? So to answer your question, this pair here is the retail box and this one here is the replica box. So there's obviously a difference in the box itself, but I know this changes between different seasons, different things like that. Sometimes the Balenciaga box will come in this one, or sometimes it will come in this style. It does change depending on what style you buy and depending on what season of the sneaker it is. So we'll take a look at the labels themselves. Here is the one on the replica one. You can see that. And here is the label on the retail one. This was purchased directly from the retail store. It's a chain of flannels, if you know the brand. But yeah. And this one was just sent from China itself. So obviously there is a difference in the box, but you shouldn't really look too much into that because it does depend on what season and different things like that. So I will open it up and I'll just break down the sneakers for you. So we'll open up the replica one first. So firstly, here is the shoe bag. The Balenciaga text, as you can see, is slightly squint. It's also printed very thinly on the paper. It's not very clear, not very bold. It seems like it could just rub off just like that. That's bagged aside, just a tiny bit of paper, but it does actually have the Balenciaga print on the paper, so that's quite impressive, but there is hardly any of it. And here is a look at the replica Balenciaga Speed sock. So we'll move these to the side. That's pretty much it for the box. It must be noted that the box actually came in pretty good condition to be shipped all the way from China. There's nothing much wrong with it. And now onto the retail pair. We'll open it up, and then straight away you can see the dust bag here of the Balenciaga text is a lot bolder. It's directly in the middle, printed perfectly. There's literally not an imperfection on the text at all. As you can see, there is a lot of paper. This one is a grey one. Doesn't actually have any Balenciaga text on the paper, which would have been a nice touch. I should have probably done that. And here is the retail Balenciaga Speed sock. So here is a replica and a retail pair side by side. Can you see any differences between them? So we'll take out both pairs of the retail one. There is a middle parting paper as well. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the box. So here we have both pairs of Balenciaga Speed socks. And in my opinion, they are incredibly close, just straight out the box. So before I go into some of the details between the comparison of what's different, I will give you some B-roll just so you can check out both pairs and see if you can spot any differences first. So before I start the comparison, it must be noted that the replica pair has been worn. I do have a retail pair right here, but also in the grey colorway, which I have tried on. So that's why I wore these, just to see if there was a difference between them in terms of comfort. And I can say that the actual upper sock feeling on the retail pair is a lot softer than on the replica. The replica one's a bit stiff and tight towards the toe. But other than that, they're really, really close. For a comparison between the exact same color, there are a number of things that I have noticed. So firstly, the actual overall shape from the upper view. As you can see, towards the toe, it curves in a lot more on the retail pair compared to that of the replica pair. Replica pair is much wider. Also, the toe guard here in the corners is peeling off on the replica pair, whereas on the retail one, it's glued seamlessly with the actual upper. So that's a difference there. In terms of the text, this might be quite hard to see. I will give you a close-up, but there are differences. The spacing between the letters is different between a retail and a replica pair. The replica pair almost has it more clumped together on the replica one, whereas the retail one is spaced out and it looks like the text is a lot longer. The positioning varies depending on the size, so I wouldn't look too much into that. I know this replica pair has been worn, however, the actual sole color is slightly off. On the replica pair, it's more of an eggshell white, whereas on the retail pair, it's more of a pure white colorway. So there is a slight shade difference between the two soles. One difference that can be noted is on the heel itself. This will be pretty hard to see, so I will try and give you a close-up of this. But the actual stitching going along the back is different on the replica compared to the retail. And towards the top of the collar, you can see that the stitching is coming loose and there are loose threads, and it just has a bit of an inconsistency at the back. Whereas on the retail pair, you can see it's perfectly stitched going up and all of the pattern is symmetrical. Whereas on the replica one, it looks almost like a V upside down pointing towards the top. If we look at the heel at the Balenciaga text, you can also see a difference here. On the replica pair, the Balenciaga text is a lot bolder, the letters are thicker, comparing this to the retail one, where the Balenciaga text is a lot thinner and isn't actually printed into the sole as cleanly as the replica. This middle stitching also comes down directly on top of the C, whereas on the replica one, it comes directly above the N. So that is a difference to note there as well. In terms of the sole of the sneaker, I know this one is dirty and this one is almost pretty much dirty as well. The only difference that I can note is actually on the Balenciaga text as well. I will give you a close-up of this. But on the Balenciaga text on the retail pair, it is a lot thicker and more deeply imprinted into the sole, comparing this to the replica, where the text is a lot thinner and almost doesn't have the same font as Balenciaga should, as it does on the top of the knitted sock. As you can see from these comparisons, these are very minuscule things and are really hard to look for, so be careful when trying to purchase a retail pair. So we'll now take out the inner paper from each side. On the replica one, it is a laminated paper and it's much larger than on the retail one. The retail one is not laminated and is a lot thicker than on the replica one. It does also have paper inside of the sock. So that is the retail one and this is the replica one. You can see there is a clear difference here. The papers do feel pretty much very similar. However, you can see by the size difference, it's just a good comparison to look for right there. I will now give you a close-up of the label on the inside. Although the replica one looks a bit worn down, this does happen with retail pairs as well, and it looks like they have got the text almost completely spot on. Apart from the actual website, www.balenciaga.com, it is slightly thinner on the replica pair compared to the retail. But other than that, they have seemed to got the label completely spot on. It must be stated that around where the sole meets the upper on the replica pair, there are a large amount of glue stains. Whereas on the retail one, there is very, very little amounts of glue stains. There are small patches where glue stains are visible, but on the main front, there is hardly any glue stains at all. This is just quality control, and Balenciaga actually has very good quality control. So they often don't send out their pairs when they are flawed like that. So that's one thing to look for. So this was just a short video of some of the differences. As you can see, they are incredibly close. So please be careful when trying to buy an authentic pair and only go with trusted sellers or actual retail shops. Another difference to note which is absolutely crazy to me, is the actual price point of these. The retail pair here is £540, whereas the replica pair purchased here is around £70 to £80 to purchase. So there is a huge difference in price point, and there is basically no difference at all, which is absolutely crazy to me. The replicas have done an unbelievable job of trying to mimic that of a retail pair. There is a slight difference when you're wearing it on foot. The retail pair is a lot comfier, I have to say. It does mold, just the general shape of the shoe molds to your foot a lot better than that of the replica one. But does it justify a £450 markup? Probably not. But yeah, that's just the way Balenciaga works and how high their prices are. Another thing that has been noted on the back of the replica pair is that after one wear, stitching is starting to fall out. It just doesn't seem like they're made too well. Whereas the retail pair, I have the reflective grey ones, which you've probably all seen on my Instagram as well, and I've worn them lots of times and they're still in perfect condition. But they do make your feet absolutely soaking when it rains, because these are not waterproof in any way. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I will now just give you some shots of both the shoes just so you can check them out, see what you think, and if you can spot any more flaws, type them in the comments below, the ones that I've missed. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. It'll be up at the same time as an Instagram test, so please follow me on Instagram at RealorFakeOfficial, and please like this video and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. So yeah, hope you have a great day and have a happy new year. Thank you.